welcome to this video. Today I'm going to open another Elves box, finally. This is actually the May one, so it has been quite a while. The thing with this box, why it took me so long, was because the stuff inside is not really meant for a project, so it took me a while to actually finish this video. But as you can see, the theme of this one is no drop wasted, and of course we have the information card with all the social media info. And then we have some stir sticks, some popsicle sticks and droppers, a large 250 milliliter silicone cup, which is very nice, definitely. And then we have a 40 milliliter cute tiny cup for smaller amounts, also very useful. And both of them luckily have pouring spots, always appreciate that. And then we have some disposable cups. These can also be very useful for certain projects, and we also got these HSS twist rods. Now the larger sizes are actually pretty rare to find. Usually these come only in the smaller size rods, so I'm super happy, and I wonder how they will work. Next up we have some B7000 glue. Almost said B6000 because Fabit. And then we have this mold. So we have some, it looks like they're meant to be stir sticks. And we have like a base, some like smiley faces, stars that looks like buttons, some weird pointy pieces, moon shapes, teardrop shapes, and all of that kind of stuff. And like it looks like the pegs are just more like indentations, so I wonder if they are meant to go through for holes or if they're just guides. And then of course in the booklet we can see everything we got. And apparently this is supposed to be a pour mat, so you pour on top and then you pour the rest into it, or like the overflow, which I think is very strange because the mold is pretty thick. But it looks like that's everything, and here they have all of the guides. So yeah, you are supposed to pour your project on top of it, pour the rest in, and then apparently the base is there as a display stand. Like this little slit goes with one of the pieces you can make, and then you can display it. As for the buttons and stuff, you're indeed apparently supposed to drill the holes open because they seem pretty flat, but I guess it's fine. The only thing is, like, the mold seems very deep for like most of the stuff. Like usually any kind of button or anything is not that deep, but we shall see. Let's actually test it out. So it took me quite a while because for some strange reason for the past 5 or 6 pours I actually got the exact perfect amount. So it took me over a month to actually get something where I had some left over. And it was just some black resin. Most of the resin I used up currently is Sophie and Toffee's 1:1 ratio. And the reason for that is because I have so many leftover open bits that I'm just trying to get rid of all the tiny open bottles. And it works out pretty well. Now the second time I actually had a bit more left. I had some green, gold, orange and a decent bit of blue left. And that actually managed to fill up these sticks, but also that was about 3 weeks after the first leftover pour. So it definitely indeed took me a while. Now usually what I do, and I tell that in videos, is I actually use my leftovers in certain molds, being it container molds or decorative molds. And I try to have multiple with different color schemes so they keep pretty much the same. But I really love putting my leftovers into all of these because you get really cool effects sometimes with leftover pours, and you know, I think it's quite interesting because you can only partially control what you get. So I don't know if I'm gonna use this mold except for specific projects just to make these sticks, but yeah, as you can see the buttons are way too chunky. And yeah, the holes don't go all the way through, so that would be very inconvenient if you want to make some buttons. As for the sticks, they have a slight bend, but the edges are pretty decently smooth. They're just also very thick. I don't know if they will be nice to hold while mixing, but I'm definitely gonna test that out. But all the sticks came out pretty well. except for that slight bend, but yeah, that's really my fault for putting the mold like on an edge there, because I didn't have much space where I usually put my molds to cure them in the container. But it was fine, it works out. But yeah, as for the drill, I actually tested it out separately. I used it for several projects so far, and like elf boxes that I actually finished before this that are technically like released way after, and it works pretty well. The only thing I noticed is that some of the like bits, drill bits, like don't really fit. Like there's some middle ground ones that don't fit in any of the holders, and I really tried to squeeze them in there to no avail. Like the smaller ones, like most of them fit, but there's like one or two that you will have trouble fitting. But I think for the amount of drill bits you actually get that work, it's still pretty much worth it. The only thing that's bothering me is that it doesn't have like a spinny back. So what I've actually been doing, since they're the same, I used the ones we already gotten from Sophie and Toffee before that have like the rotating back thing, and I used the like tips that came in this one and just, you know, moved them around a bit, and it actually worked pretty well. But yeah, to the sticks now, the cups I'm using, I like to use them up until they're like really full of resin and you cannot really fit the amounts in there anymore you need. So I've been using this cup for like 6 or 7 pours. The cup is a bit too deep for this, so it definitely hurt my hands a little bit, but this stick actually worked. It scraped the edges nicely, and I think if you had the smaller cup, like the 40 milliliter ones from the kit, I think it would be pretty much working. But you could also use them as like decorative things for projects and stuff, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it mixed the resin fine. So overall, I think this box was less of a project, but it had some excellent things inside. So yeah, I don't know how useful the mod is gonna be. Maybe some people can use it if you only make small amounts. The drills are definitely very useful, the stir sticks and droppers always are useful, and any kind of silicone cap is great, as well as the glue, of course. You can always use some of this glue. But yeah, for the topic stir sticks and the silicone cups, they kind of make sense, because silicone tends to break down after years of use. Which I had to throw away a lot of my silicone cups before just because of age, and they started to completely rip apart. So that's always useful. I don't know if the mold is. I'd rather have gotten some tools, like, you know, if some of you guys remember, we had these like flat-headed silicone tools where you could scrape off the resin that was like overflowing on top of the mold. I think that would have been great. And then maybe if they just would have made like a mat with like stir sticks, but made it a bit flatter so you can hold them easier and they're not that uncomfortable, and maybe some longer varieties too. I think that would have been great. But yeah, the glue and the rest of the stuff, very useful. I don't really care about the mold at all, but always happy to get all of these other tools. I wish there would have just been something else that fits a theme that, you know, would have made more sense. We didn't really get a project, but that's totally fine. This is more like a midway box, so to speak. You know, you get the beginner box if you don't have any resin tools, then you get a lot of the Elves boxes, and then some of your tools like break down or are getting used up, so you get this box. So yeah, definitely way more of a supply box. But let me know in the comments down below, what were your thoughts about this box? Did you like it? Did you find it useful? Did you get it, or did you skip it? Now, I will have some more boxes come up in the future, but at this point I actually decided to pause my Sophie and Toffee boxes, and the reason for that is just because the future themes so far, they haven't really interested me. This one, great theme. The next like 3 boxes, so June, July, August, I also have, and all of them are pretty fun, but the ones after, I didn't really get interested in it, and I don't want to waste my money. If there's gonna be a theme that like really piques my interest that they announce, I may go for that in the future again, but I also don't want to get any boxes that I know I'm not gonna use the molds except for a video. I really don't want to, you know, waste my money on things where I'm like, yeah, okay, I could have gotten that separately, or like, you know, it's not really that useful for me. So at the moment, I'm going to focus more on using the molds I have to make fun new resin projects, or just random fun new pours that look great, and, you know, use up some of them, use up the resin I have here, because I have more than enough resin that I really need to use up. So there will still be some box videos following, but there may be larger breaks in between. Anyways, as always, I hope you have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye!